Welcome back. Tension is high in two villages in Kiambu County following the murder of two night guards by unknown people. The two were killed in Denderu and Gasharage areas, bringing to 4 the number of night guards killed in the last 2 months alone. The killings have sparked anger among other security guards in the area who are demanding action from the government. Martin Munene tells us more.
These night guards are walking to the scene where the life of 2 of their friends were abruptly brought to an end. They were killed by robbers who attacked Gasharage and Denderu villages on Sunday night. It was at this apartment where the 2 guards worked that their lives were cut short by suspected robbers. It is alleged that robbers attacked the apartment and stabbed them to death before making away with side mirrors, car light heads and other car accessories, leaving a trail of death and destroyed property.
Ni mimi mwenyewe nimefungua nguo zake hivi. Nikahesabu kizo moja hapa kwa kifua na hapa na hii ya mgongo. Na nimetoka na askari kutoka huko Denderu. Na hao askari nimesimamia karibu saa mzima nikiwaambia tokeni twendeni.
The 2 are just the latest victims of a string of murders targeting night guards, and the guards are now awarded lot.
Sasa hii kitu imetuumiza sana. Juu sasa watu tumetoka nyumbani, tumetoka tukua hivi saa hii mkituona. Lakini kurudi imekuwa shida. Inaweza rudi watu 5. Wote wamekufa. Huyu mtu sasa wa leo ni 3. 4. Wakikufa tu hapa. Kila mwaka tunabeba jeneza. Kila mwaka tunabeba jeneza.
According to a resident, crime has been on the rise in the area. Some of the guards claim they have been receiving death threats from unknown people.
Anatufanyia hii matendo ni watu hapa. Unaona? Unakuta unaandikiwa message kwa simu kwamba nakuendea usiku. Sasa kwa nini siwe mchungu? Sasa hii ile sasa imetupata hapa. Mimi nilikuwa nimeamua kama ni mateso, serikali kama tusaidie, hadi turudishwe kwetu. Tukakae na mateso yetu.
No arrests have been made so far. Tom Wanjala, Citizen Live at 1.
Staying with security matters, and tension has hit Kamungei and Luhoho areas along the Mosop-Malava border following violence that left scores injured and more than 20 houses torched by unknown assailants. The violence erupted on Sunday after a milk vendor from Nandi was reportedly attacked by a group of youths from a neighboring community. Our reporter Tobias Bele brings us the details.
This was the aftermath of the violence that erupted on Sunday between members of 2 neighboring communities along the Mosop-Malava border. Several houses were torched here in Luhoho and herds of cattle stolen by attackers said to be from Kamungei, reportedly on a revenge mission following an alleged attack of a milk vendor from the Nandi community by a group of youths on Saturday afternoon.
Jana alasiri, kijana ambao alikuwa anapeleka maziwa upande wa Western alishikwa hapa chini, kunyang'anywa baskeli na pesa ambazo alikuwa anauza nazo maziwa.
Viola Chepto is a Nandi who is married in Luhoho, but who fell victim to the latest attack, which left several families homeless after their homes were burnt.
Wengine wakatoka na mamishale, wengine wakakimbia. Wakawa wanahitaji kutupamia kwa nyumba ya semeji wangu ndani. Tukaamua kujitokeza hapo hivyo, tukakimbia kwa vile walikuwa na mamishale, panga, mawe.
Communities living in the Mosop-Malava border have had a strained relationship in the recent past, with the area being characterized with a regular cycle of violence. Among the incidents that are believed to have sparked the recent violence was the murder of a 52-year-old man a few weeks ago. Jacob Mulunda, the man who was suspected to have killed him but who was acquitted by court due to lack of evidence, fell victim to the Sunday attack when the assailants shot him in the stomach with an arrow. He faulted the Kakamega Deputy County Commissioner, who reportedly watched as he was shot, for failing to broker peace between the communities.
TC alienda akawasuia. Dakika chache TC tungali naye hivyo, wakanitunga mshale. Kaa TC amesimama. Tulitoka pale, tukaambia TC, TC, umekuja kutusaidia ama umekuja kutuua? TC alitoa kipiriti mfuko yake, akapea mtu mmoja kutoka huko juu, wakaasha nyumba.
Elders from the 2 communities had earlier initiated a dialogue to end the conflict, only for their efforts to be aborted by the retaliatory attacks.
Bado tunangojea report kutoka kule. Tunasikia hata maofisa wetu wa serikali kutoka upande zote Kabiet
walikuwa wamekuja wanauliza mahali gani tunaenda kuongea.
Residents in both Luhoho and Kamungei have decried the security lapse in the area, with some saying security officers in the area are not effective. The latest spate of violence unfortunately comes barely weeks after Nandi County and Kakamega County governments held peace talks to initiate a cohesive and harmonious coexistence between the two communities. Tobias Bele for Citizen Live at 1.
Well, from those security matters, we move now to business, and the Kenya Electricity Generating Company, KenGen, has floated a tender for the design and construction of yet another geothermal power project in Olkaria, Naivasha. The company is planning to put up a 140-megawatt geothermal power plant that has been christened Olkaria 5 Geothermal Power Project. The proposed plant is expected to be put up within a period of 40 months. KenGen is also seeking financing from international funding institutions to fund the project's development. The issuance of the tender comes 2 months since the government commissioned the 140-megawatt Olkaria 4 geothermal power project. The project is part of a wider plan to boost the country's electricity generation to 5,000 megawatts by 2018. Kenya is the first African country to exploit geothermal energy and is said to have a potential to generate 7,000 megawatts of geothermal power. And some great news for the country. Kenya has won the bid to host the 10th World Trade Organization Ministerial Conference that's scheduled for December next year. According to a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, member states of the WTO voted in favor of Kenya after Turkey withdrew her bid to host the conference. The win marks a first for Kenya, as it's now set to become the first African country to host a WTO ministerial meeting. This means Kenya will play host to trade representatives from 160 member states of the WTO. The WTO Ministerial Conference, which is the top decision-making organ in the global trade body, meets every 2 years to discuss global trade matters. Kenya is among the founding members of the WTO, having joined the WTO's predecessor, which was known as the General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs, GATT, in 1963. American fast food chain Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, has opened the country's first drive-through restaurant. The outlet is KFC's 5th restaurant in Nairobi and the first of its kind, we're told, in Kenya. The drive-through restaurant will enable customers to conveniently buy takeaway meals within a period of 2 to 5 minutes. The outlet, located at a petrol station along Mombasa Road, is targeting Nairobi's growing middle class. The company is planning to open its 6th outlet along Limuru Road by the end of the year. KFC first ventured into Kenya 4 years ago.
As we know, Kenya is fast catching up with the rest of the developed world. Nairobi, being the all-round trade pivot for East Africa region, is now a very cosmopolitan city. And with that comes changing lifestyles. We're committed to lead the way in offering Kenya consumers the ultimate innovation in convenience.
And as the launch of KFC's drive-through restaurant has demonstrated, Kenya has seen an increasing number of foreign brands set up shop in the country. Despite economic and security challenges, investors seem alive to the opportunities offered by a fairly young population, a growing middle class, and rising incomes.
Kenya's capital, Nairobi, has drawn some of the world's top brands as new investors rush in to grab the attention of a growing middle class with money to spare. With a population estimated at 41 million, 70% of whom are under 35, and one of the highest English literacy rates in the region, the human resource potential is also making Kenya even more attractive. Foreign investors feel that for the first time there is enough human resource to produce global quality goods and independently run their companies with little oversight from the foreign company. Cold Stone Creamery, an American ice cream chain, recently opened 3 shops in Kenya. Although not directly set up by Cold Stone Creamery International, the brand was franchised by Om Nom Nom Mauritius Limited in a 10-year deal that will see Om Nom Nom oversee daily operations and handle expansion interests of the food retailer in the region.
We went to Arizona, where Cold Stone was founded back in 1988, Arizona Scottsdale that is, for training on ice cream. We trained on how to produce ice cream, right from when it's still very low to the end product, which you can see that we have here. And the same knowledge we have transferred, or rather we have embedded it in our staff.
For consumers, the growth and diversification of the market means more variety, and for some product and service providers, an incentive to improve standards.
Competition is good. I mean, it will place a demand on the local brands to up their game, which eventually then the customer gets value for money that they have. I guess people have been spending on ice cream that may not have been up to standard. When you get something better, the others have to up their game or they are thrown out of business, so we say.
Kiprono Kitonyi is the chairman of the Kenya Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which has been leading the push to attract more foreign investors into the country.
Foreign brands, a lot of them, ascribe to global best practice. These are brands, goods and services that have found a place in the international market, and I think the fact that they have chosen Kenya, to position those brands is also a manifestation that we are both ready as a market and willing to really adapt best practice.
Analysts say the presence of foreign brands is evidence that investors are alive to Kenya's economic potential, including recent oil discoveries. The country's gross domestic product was estimated to be 25% bigger after the authorities changed the base calculation year to 2009 from 2001, sending the East African nation into the continent's top 10 economies. But economists say it is still too low to make a tangible impact on the poor in a country where around 40% live below the poverty line, broadly defined as those living below $1.25 a day. The economy has also been hurt by what turned out to be unfounded worries about election violence in 2013, as well as militant attacks, including several in 2014. Economists say governance and corruption issues remain a drag on performance. Although most global premium and luxury brands have not entered the market directly, they are partnering with regional enterprises via franchise agreements. In an ideal franchising agreement, the franchisee will bear the cost of setting up shop to global specifications and obtaining registration and permits. The mother brand in turn provides leadership, training and merchandising in return for royalty, among other franchise fees, which are repatriated to the brand's mother country. American makeup brand MAC Cosmetics recently opened their first store in East and Central Africa at a mall in Nairobi's affluent suburbs. The retailers say the majority of their stock was sold out 3 weeks after they opened for business. A pharmacist by training and profession, Dr. Joyce Gikunda, who is behind bringing MAC stores to Kenya, had already built a reputation in the cosmetics industry through her company Linton's Beauty World, which sells other brands like Estee Lauder, Mary Kay and Clinique, among others. However, her early attempts to bring MAC to Kenya were unsuccessful. MAC felt that the African market was not ready.
We sat on the table and we said, we know this market better than you do. You know the products, you know the brand better than we do, but we know the clientele, we know the attitudes, we know the demographics of this country better than we do. So the best thing that can happen in our partnership is for each one of us to listen to each other and get to a compromise whereby you get the best, you adapt the best from both sides for the betterment of the business.
Analysts say that franchising as a business model could be the new frontier for local business people and entrepreneurs to launch on the back of growing foreign investment. While the entry of brands into Kenya is important to its economic growth, unemployment remains high, a key factor in achieving an emerging market status to help attract even more investment, as it will offer much higher buying power. Patrick Gunza, Citizen, live at 1.
A fascinating report there from Patrick Igunza. We move back to security matters now, and the government is pushing for more focus on the security sector in the next budget. Insecurity has affected tourism, which is a key source of revenue for the country. Now, this came during this year's budget public hearings at the KICC in Nairobi.
Is expected to accelerate, supported by continued macroeconomic stability and improved investment climate, implementation of several key infrastructure projects in railways, roads, energy, agriculture sectors, and continued investment in health and education, in addition to improved management of the devolved system of government.
Now time to take a look at the Forex markets, and the Kenya shilling has weakened further against the US dollar. The local unit is now trading at an indicative rate of 90 shillings and 30 cents buying, 90 shillings and 47 cents selling to the US dollar. The shilling has also extended its weakening streak against the euro to trade at 111 shillings and 38 cents buying, 111 shillings and 60 cents selling, while trading at 141 shillings and 72 cents buying, 142 shillings and 1 cent selling against the sterling pound. The Kenyan currency has, however, held its ground to its regional counterparts. To the Tanzanian unit, the shilling is trading at 19 shillings and 27 cents buying, 19 shillings and 42 cents selling, and against the Ugandan shilling, the home unit is trading at 30 shillings and 50 cents buying, 30 shillings and 66 cents selling. And we now welcome into studio Waihiga Mwara. Good to see you today.
Good to see you, Julie.
We've had a fascinating report from Patrick Igunza pointing out, the different dynamics that are happening in our economy and the rise of the middle class.
And the number of events that are being brought to the country.
Exactly, but what does this mean for sport?
Well, first things first, it's actually one of our stories today. We're talking about the World Youth Championships, which we were given over other countries. So in 2017, we're going to be hosting a couple of teams, of course, and the budget for that is expected to be at least 1.2 billion Kenya shillings. So all the countries in the world with athletes are going to be coming to Kenya. They're going to be seeing our tourism, our wildlife, our culture, our people. Amazing tourism.
So there's still so much confidence in this country.
Yes, yes, there is. Yes, there is. And I expect that once we stage that well, who knows what Kenya could host in the future. I'm not going to talk about any particular events.
Let's be optimistic.
Right, so we have that story. And of course, Willis Raburu and all Manchester United fans are still celebrating their win yesterday, 2-1 over Southampton. We'll be back with those highlights and so much more after this short break.